Detective Sergeant Coates of the Winnipeg Police Service was called to testify at the inquest of Tracy Owen, a 14-year-old who started working the streets in the months before her suicide in August of 2005. Coates candidly admitted that most heinous sex offenders, adults who prey on young children, go largely unpunished because police lack the resources and ability to go after them.
I am here today in Parliament, this wonderful chamber where our country makes all the laws for the land. And as a member of Parliament, our responsibility is to keep Canadians safe. There's one segment of our society that is not safe, and that is our children. I have been working on the issue of the trafficking of children for roughly a decade now. Traffickers make a lot of money off the backs of innocent victims. Youth, 18 years and under, are lured into the sex trade without even knowing that they're going to be lured in the sex trade. The traffickers are very clever. They come on as being their friends, they get them into a good situation, come on as giving them gifts, and then all of a sudden they separate them from their families, from their networks, and then they traffic them across the country. At that time, the kids get confined, they get raped, and they get forced to provide sexual favors to men. We need to put a message forward to the traffickers of children. This message has to be that they are not welcome in Canada. And the ones that can do it, the ones that can send this message out is you. You who make members of Parliament like myself responsible to pass the laws that will protect our children. I have to say that here in Parliament, I put a motion forward, motion 153, and I brought it before Parliament a couple of years ago, and I asked Parliament to all agree that we should stop human trafficking here in Canada and abroad. The whole Parliament stood up in favor of that motion, and it was passed. Now recently, I've put a bill, 268, forward, and it's a bill that puts mandatory minimum sentences for the traffickers of children. What that means is, if someone is caught, if this bill passes and someone is caught trafficking children, they will get at least 5 years. Bill 268, mandatory minimums for traffickers of children under 18 years, is just one aspect to stopping the trafficking of children here in Canada. It's a very important aspect. It's like the tipping point. The tipping point which will make a nation aware of what the problem is. It will also protect the children so that judges can give at least 5 years for these heinous crimes. Right now, we do have 2 other laws where theoretically you could get life for trafficking somebody. In reality, in the courtroom, that doesn't often happen. In reality, the trafficking cases that have become before our courts, the traffickers have got off extremely lightly. The first trafficker that trafficked a 15-and-a-half-year-old girl for over 2 years earned a lot of money off of her, over $360,000, and now he is incarcerated, but his sentence was very light, just a little over 2 years. Right now, the bill went through first reading and second reading, and it's now been referred to committee. Just the other day, I found that the bill was bounced out of committee or off the agenda, and it's supposed to come up maybe sometime in June now. But parliamentarians on all sides of the House, with all parties, have a responsibility to take that bill and to pass it and to bring it back to third reading in Parliament so it can become a law after royal assent. I would encourage all Canadians to write their members of Parliament in all parties and encourage them to support this bill, get it through committee in a very timely manner, bring it back to Parliament and vote it in. It's very important now, coming so close to the Olympics in 2010, is very important because there's cases in the courts right now that need to be addressed, and this bill will help that. Slavery was stopped in the 1800s. People rejoiced because it was no longer there. The laws were passed. Now we have to realize that slavery is back again, alive and well, in the year 2009. and innocent victims are being sexually exploited. Children are being sexually exploited. Traffickers are making a huge amount of money off the back of innocent victims. You as Canadians and we as parliamentarians have to work together to make sure that this sex slavery is stopped, and we have to do it now. We can't waste another day.